wanted to point out here, I've turned around and now I'm looking back downhill. But I wanted to point out how the water, you can see the path of the water flows this way. And then it came to this area here where this fairly large bitterbrush plant was, or is, and it went around it. So it's an example of how plant life holds that soil in place. And so it said, hey, everything's really structurally sound here. I'm going to move around it, take the path of least resistance, at least for now. So if you're wondering about our leave no trace, I'm trying to stay in the, this is not an established trail, but I'm trying to stay on the rock surfaces, which is a pretty durable surface. Definitely don't want to get on the edge of the bank, like right here, where you can see this soil is really easily moved. If I were to step there, that would just all come down. So I'm going to stay in the very center, or where most of the rocks are, as we go up the draw a little farther. Now, I don't know if you can see, there's a slight little trail right there. It's only about this wide. And at first glance, you might say, hey, someone's making an extra trail through here. Well, that someone is probably deer, because of the narrowness of the trail, or rabbits, maybe even coyotes. Anyway, that's an animal trail. They follow the path of least resistance as well. This is looking back down the draw, and you can see as we go up, the higher we go up in elevation and up the slope, the more narrow the actual creek itself gets. Wow, I just flustered three owls in this tree right here. Let's go see if there's an owl pellet under it. Well, I've decided not to see, because to go up this would really just bring down that soil. So we'll just be happy with the fact that we got to see them in the middle of the day. Awesome. Cool. As we're going up farther, you can see the thickening of the junipers more and more. And oh, I was going to show you this rock with these cool white bands through it, quartz bands. It's like a striped t-shirt. I don't know if you can see that critter. At first I thought it was a rabbit. I think it was I don't know if it was a squirrel or a marmot. It looked really big. You see the lizard? Wow, he's got quite the tail. When I first got here, twice now, I've seen two healthy looking cottontail rabbits, and here's some healthy looking cottontail rabbit poop. Don't mix them up with your Cocoa Puffs. I doubt you could catch him running through there. That was a jackrabbit. Big, huge ears, big, huge hind legs. And you can see we're almost to the top of the ridge. And the tree, the thickness of the trees is really more than the brush at this point. It's still juniper. I'm hoping that we'll get up high enough to where it will turn to a pine or two. Let's see. He's pretty, isn't he? It's like a giraffe. Well, we come up to the top of the ridge, and as you can see, there's a very obvious line between where the trees stop and we start again with brush and grass. Why? We're at the same elevation. Well, let's walk over here and let's see if you can tell me why. Yeah, we've had a fire go through here. I can't remember exactly when. Looks like it's been a couple years. But the fire, these were juniper trees, took out many of the junipers here. Probably looked just like this over here before. And then primarily want you to look down and see what we've got growing down here. This is cheatgrass. It comes in after fire and it grows like crazy. It's green during the winter and then it dries out during the summer. That's typical of a Mediterranean plant, which is where it's from. It's really thick right here. And of course, being dry in the summer is not a good thing because it came in with fire and then it's just waiting to be fuel for a new fire. We've had several fires lately, mainly due to lightning. But this is a very invasive species. It's got a few other problems besides just being very flammable and very invasive. It's not good. This is a squirrel tail or an oat. This is some type of oat. That's a different grass, probably native. Rabbit brush. It's not good forage. It's got really prickly barbs when it dries out. And those barbs, the deer, cattle even, don't even like to eat them. So we can't even put animals in here to graze to get rid of it. And I think I'll show you in the slides. It's the barbs are really nasty. I've taken my dog into the vet 3 times. 2 barbs in the ears and 1 up her nose. They do get into animals' fur in between their paws, and they're almost like fish hooks. They're almost that sharp. Now, if you can see in the distance, that mountain is Peavine Mountain, and the blackened area you see there's a fire. It just happened like last week. And man, we're gonna, you're just looking at a lot of erosion, and you're looking at a lot of cheatgrass coming in, in all that blackened area. Peavine's a very interesting mountain, and is that it's got some really pockets where there's a lot of moisture, and you get up at the top and even on the other side, and there's ponderosa pine, there's firs, there's even some western white pine, which grows at a very high elevation. That's a unique ecosystem right there. Now this mountain across the way with the radio antennas on it, it's commonly called Red Mountain. It probably has a better name, but we call it Red Mountain. And I just want to point it out. If you see, we're pretty much at the same elevation as Red Mountain. I'm gonna drive over there in a minute and show you though some different plants. I've come to the top of this ridge and I haven't found any transition to any pine trees. So keep that in mind as we go over to Red Mountain. I'm going to start back down the hill, and maybe we'll catch a glimpse of those owls, or maybe that jackrabbit.